I'm Jane Klaus. We're starting today's show talking about vertigo. It's a condition that can have a significant impact on how you live your everyday life. So I'm heading to physical therapy and balance centers to learn more about what can be done to relieve symptoms. If anybody has ever had vertigo, you know how awful it can be. But for those people who haven't, explain what vertigo is.
So vertigo is essentially a false sensation of movement or spinning. It occurs when these crystals in our inner ear get dislodged. It's very common that it gets triggered by positional head movements. So a lot of times it happens when you're lying down, maybe looking all the way up or looking all the way down with your head. So vertigo itself is technically a symptom and not a diagnosis. So the most common thing that we see is BPPV, which stands for benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. Positional vertigo happens when these crystals in our inner ear get dislodged and they start floating around in these semicircular canals in our inner ear.
Do we know what causes it?
We don't necessarily always know what causes it. There are instances where there is an inner ear infection or some head trauma, and that stuff makes sense because something like that has caused those crystals to be dislodged. But at the same time, there are a lot of instances where people just come in and they don't know what triggered it. It's one of the second most common complaints heard in doctors' offices. And positional vertigo is the most common of those complaints.
If they're experiencing the unbalance or dizziness, when should they seek medical attention?
If they have that sensation of spinning, I think the sooner the better, and especially because it can be fixed.
It's treatable with some different types of movements. How does that work?
So essentially what we're doing is we are taking you through a series of head movements to basically bring those crystals back around the canal and back to their home where they're supposed to be. It's important to know that not all vertigo is treated the same in the sense of if it's in a different canal, we would do a different maneuver to treat it. And that's why we do kind of recommend seeking, a professional's opinion. That way we can diagnose which canal it's in.
Today you've got a couple of exercises to show us that would then treat positional vertigo in different parts of the ear.
Correct.